Forget the Genesis story you've heard, where humans were made from dust or clay. Hidden in ancient texts like the Gospel of Philip and the Book of Enoch is a different story, a story of humans not made of earth but of light. According to these writings, the first humans weren't part of the physical world at all. They were beings of pure light, a part of God's own essence. These light beings didn't eat, sleep, or feel pain. They weren't like the humans we know today. Instead, they were spiritual beings, free from everything we think of as part of being human. Some ancient texts, like the Gospel of Philip, call these beings Gnostics, meaning they were deeply connected to divine wisdom. They didn't have to learn knowledge, they were knowledge. Imagine being created with complete understanding and absolute freedom. It's hard to even picture, right? This makes you wonder, could this ancient idea have something to teach us today? In a world full of stress and distractions, maybe we're still searching for that inner light, the kind of wisdom and freedom these beings were said to have. It's not just the Gnostic Gospels that mention these beings of light. Other ancient manuscripts suggest similar ideas. From Sumerian texts to Egyptian records, it seems ancient cultures wanted us to know that humanity's origins were far more complex, even celestial. Some texts go further, claiming these beings of light were the true humans, while what we consider humans today are downgraded physical versions. Our current bodies, with all their flaws and limitations, are described as prisons for the soul, a dim reflection of what humanity once was. What happened to these beings of light? Were they eradicated, or do they still exist, hidden among us? And if so, could some of us carry remnants of their luminous essence? These beings of light are said to have possessed gnosis, true knowledge of the divine, giving them an almost godlike power. But this knowledge was deemed dangerous and forbidden. Why would understanding the truth about your own origin be considered a threat? This is where the conspiracy begins. Those in power, be it the church, society, or authority, have no interest in individuals with independent knowledge. They want followers, not beings who believe they share the Creator's divine essence. Delving deeper, especially into banned texts, we find a different story of humanity's creation. Earthbound humans, let's call them the second type, were not created but constructed. According to Gnostic writings, the demiurge is the architect of the material world, a jealous, lesser god who trapped the divine spark within layers of flesh and bone. Bound by physical form, mortality, and limitations, earthbound humans were engineered as functional beings, tools designed for control. Their fear, hunger, and desires were no accident, but deliberate features to keep them tethered to the physical world. Think about it. Traits we consider part of the human condition, our constant search for meaning, our reliance on systems, were likely programmed. What if these systems, designed to perpetuate control, have kept us blind to our true potential for thousands of years? Right, we've covered the luminous beings and the earthbound ones, but now let's talk about a whole different type, humans born of fire. These fireborn humans aren't just spiritual or material, they're something entirely unique. You see, ancient Persian texts and some of the lesser-known apocryphal writings refer to a third type of human, one that holds an unpredictable, unstoppable force within. This force is described as fire, not a literal blaze, but an intense, sacred energy that burns through illusion and limitation. It is an energy that can both create and destroy, like the divine flame that reshapes the soul. These fire-born humans carry within them the light of truth, piercing through the darkness of ignorance and conformity. They stand as bridges between heaven and earth, walking the fine line between enlightenment and chaos. These are the ones who rebel, who push boundaries, and who cannot rest until they uncover deeper truths. Texts describe them as beings imbued with divine wrath and creative fury. entities whose very essence is to reshape reality. Their existence is not an act of defiance, but a call to ignite transformation. In their presence, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the mundane gives way to profound insight. Some ancient writings suggest that fireborn humans were seen as a direct threat to systems of power. Why? Because they embody freedom from control, from fear, and from blind obedience. They are creators, capable of manifesting new paths for humanity to follow, paths unbound by the structures of the physical world. To the demiurge and his archons, these fireborn are the ultimate challenge. Their divine connection cannot be severed, their spirit cannot be silenced, and their energy cannot be contained. They hold the essence of creation itself, a spark of the divine that refuses to be extinguished. So who are the fireborn today? They are the seekers of truth, the disruptors of falsehood, and the architects of a world yet to be imagined. Their journey is not just their own. It is humanity's path to remembering what it means to truly burn with the light of the divine. We've all heard the line, "History is written by the victors," but when it comes to ancient texts, especially the ones dealing with human origins and our purpose, it seems like history was rewritten, buried, or straight up erased by those with something to lose. Imagine ancient truths, like fragile manuscripts hidden in the shadows, their words glowing faintly like embers in the dark, waiting to reignite. This brings us to what I'm calling the neo-Gnostic doctrine, an ancient view about humanity that's been systematically erased. It's not just a dry concept, it's like uncovering a tapestry where humanity is woven in three vivid threads: light, earth, and fire. Picture beings of light, as if they were luminous stars walking among us, untethered by matter, radiating wisdom and purity. Then there are those of earth, sculpted from clay, grounded and sturdy but confined by the weight of their material existence. Finally, the beings of fire, sparks of divine chaos, with an inner blaze that drives them to both create and disrupt. But here's the thing. Knowledge of this doctrine posed a serious threat to religious and political institutions alike. And it wasn't just swept under the rug, it was actively hunted down and destroyed. Why? Because the neo-Gnostic doctrine paints a picture of humanity that's not simple, not uniform, and definitely not docile. It's a picture where people are born with inherent qualities, some carrying the infinite brilliance of light, others rooted in the steadfastness of earth, and a few burning with an insatiable transformative power. This dismantles the idea that every person should conform to the same mold, follow the same path, or adhere to the same set of beliefs. Instead, the doctrine suggests a world where humanity is a symphony of potential, each type playing a unique note in the melody of existence. And let's be honest, such a message doesn't fit with systems built on control and conformity. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what truths have been hidden from our history? How did these ancient powers operate to keep humanity in the dark? Texts like the Nag Hammadi Library or the Dead Sea Scrolls, mere fragments that survived, hint at truths deliberately erased. Imagine for a moment, how much knowledge have we truly lost? How many ideas were purged simply because they didn't fit the narrative of a uniform, obedient humanity? It wasn't just religious authorities erasing these truths. Political rulers also understood the danger of a population aware of its own uniqueness and complexity. A society where individuals recognize their spiritual and mental independence starts to question, to push back. A society aware of its diverse origins doesn't easily submit to control. The neo-Gnostic doctrine reveals that some humans were destined to question, to dig deeper, to resist. This doctrine isn't just a story about control. It's an indictment of how knowledge was crushed to mold humanity into a predictable, manageable form. They didn't just erase ideas, they erased entire ways of being. These forgotten teachings remind us that humanity was once more connected, dynamic, and profoundly aware. Think about this. Could this world, with its rules, suffering, and endless cycles of fear and desire, be the masterpiece of the demiurge, a creator not born of love, but of a desire for control? The demiurge didn't work alone. According to these banned texts, he had helpers, archons, cosmic gatekeepers who set not only physical constraints, but also mental and spiritual limits. Can't you feel it in the grind of daily life, the systems around us, the rules, the distractions, even the limitations we've been taught to accept, all serve to reinforce the idea that we are nothing more than physical beings. It's a cage designed to make us forget who we truly are. But what if this cage isn't all there is? What if the distractions, the endless cycles of striving and surviving, are part of a grand illusion meant to keep us from discovering our true nature? If you've ever felt like something doesn't add up, that there's more to this existence, you're not alone. The truth is waiting for us to question it. Ancient mystics and esoteric traditions, the sources that mainstream religion often tries to sideline, have been whispering the same idea for thousands of years. That humanity isn't a single entity, but a spectrum of beings with different origins. They didn't just make this up. From ancient Egypt to Persia, from early Hindu texts to the mystic writings of the Kabbalah, we find a recurring idea. Humanity's essence isn't one size fits all. Instead, we're a blend of beings of light, earth, and fire, each with its own unique role and purpose. Let's start with the beings of light. Imagine a monk meditating high in the Himalayas, untouched by worldly desires, fully immersed in the pursuit of enlightenment. These are the souls naturally drawn to wisdom and divine connection, illuminating the path for others through their understanding and compassion. In ancient Kabbalistic teachings, these individuals are likened to vessels filled with divine light, effortlessly radiating peace and clarity. Now consider the earthbound souls. Think of a farmer rising with the sun, planting seeds, and tending the land with unwavering dedication. These individuals value stability, routine, and the tangible. They are the pillars of society, grounding us in the here and now. The Sufi mystics often describe these souls as the roots of humanity, anchoring communities with their unwavering focus on the material and practical. Finally, there are the fireborn souls, those who seem to carry a spark that can either ignite change or dismantle the status quo. Picture a revolutionary artist challenging societal norms through bold, provocative works, or a scientist relentlessly questioning established theories to unveil groundbreaking discoveries. In ancient Persian traditions, these souls were seen as agents of transformation, wielding the raw energy of creation and destruction. These examples help us see how the light, earth, and fire souls manifest in the world around us. Each type contributes uniquely, whether by offering spiritual insight, providing stability, or driving progress. And yet, throughout history, those in power have feared this understanding. The mystics of ancient Egypt, the alchemists of medieval Europe, and the guardians of secret teachings all knew that such knowledge, if made public, could destabilize the structures of control that rely on conformity. This knowledge didn't disappear, it survived, hidden in symbols, encoded writings, and whispered teachings passed down for those willing to listen. If the mystics were right, then this lost understanding could be the key to breaking out of a cycle humanity's been trapped in for thousands of years. So here we are. We've covered light beings, earthbound humans, and fireborn rebels, and how these ancient texts lay out a blueprint for understanding humanity's true hidden potential. But let's face it, the fact that this knowledge was banned, buried, and demonized tells us something crucial. It matters. It mattered enough to hide, mattered enough to destroy, and it matters enough today to reconsider everything we think we know about ourselves. Imagine for a moment, What if, long ago, humanity stood at a crossroads, with some destined to shine as luminous beings, others molded into earthly forms, and a few burning with the uncontainable fire of creation? Picture an ancient society where these differences weren't suppressed, but embraced. The light beings, with their innate wisdom, might have served as guides, illuminating the path to spiritual truths. The earthbound, grounded and practical, would have cultivated stability and order, and the fireborn rebels, full of creative fury, would have shattered old systems, paving the way for transformation. Together, they could have formed a harmonious balance, a dynamic interplay of energy and purpose. Now think about today. How often do we hear stories of individuals who defy the odds, refusing to follow the status quo, or those who feel deeply connected to the mysteries of existence, but struggle to find their place in a world that prizes conformity? These aren't random quirks, they're echoes of ancient archetypes buried within us. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. What if understanding these archetypes isn't just about knowing our past, but unlocking our future? Imagine a society where you could recognize whether you were a being of light, earth, or fire, and use that understanding to live authentically. A teacher who sees themselves as a light being might inspire their students with wisdom beyond the ordinary. An entrepreneur with the fiery drive of creation might revolutionize industries. And a caregiver, deeply connected to the earthbound nature, could create sanctuaries of peace and grounding in a chaotic world. These ancient teachings weren't just about philosophy, they were practical guides for living a fulfilled life. Yet, somewhere along the line, we stopped listening. The systems built around us didn't want us to remember who we are, they wanted us to forget. But what if we could bring that knowledge back into the light? This potential of recognizing our three origins isn't just an abstract idea, it's a way to reshape society, a world where people live not by imposed roles, but by their true nature, would be transformative. And that's why these teachings were buried. They dared us to imagine a world where humanity lived in full awareness of its origins and purpose. So now, the question becomes, who are you in this ancient story? A seeker of light, a guardian of the earth, or a bearer of fire? What will you do with the truth about your origins? Because rediscovering these pieces of ourselves might just be the first step toward reclaiming our true potential. If this journey into the unknown has inspired you to think differently about who we are and where we come from, I invite you to join our growing community. Subscribe to Path to the Unknown, and together, let's continue exploring the mysteries of existence, challenging the boundaries of what we think we know and unlocking the potential that lies hidden within us all. Hit the subscribe button and take the next step with us. The journey is just beginning.